I think we can all agree that the cost of living right now is an absolute joke. Wanted to start making a load of different recipes that don't bust the bank, they're affordable, they're family friendly, and of course they still taste amazing. We're starting off with this coconut lime chicken served with rice. It's tasty, it's easy to make. Some of the ingredients you might already have, but I'll leave details where I can of how much this all cost, especially those that have like paprika and garlic powder. I know some recipes don't include that in the costing, but I'll try my best to include that for you. Also, just before we get started, hit that like button, and if you want to see a series out of this, just let me know in the comment section below. To start, we need 1 brown or yellow onion. Make thin slices across, do the horizontal slice, and then dice into small to medium sized pieces, trimming off any excess flesh. Peel 5 grams or 0.2 ounces of ginger with a spoon. It's the best way to do it, and try not to let it slip out your hands and fall on the floor. Then we can grate that along with 6 cloves of garlic on a microplane, and you can mix these two together because they're going into the recipe at the same time. An optional ingredient is 1 long red chili. Take off the stem and then slice it in half lengthways. You can remove the pith and seeds if you'd like to, or leave them in for a little bit of extra heat. Slice this into strips, rotate that 90 degrees, and then dice into really small pieces. And if you're wondering what that noise in the background was, my cat just jumped on the bench and knocked my tea off all over the floor. And the moral of the story is don't have cats. Anyway, back to the chili, continue finely dicing into small pieces, and like I said, it is completely optional. Now I'm using 4 large tomatoes. You don't have to use fresh tomatoes if you don't want to. You can use canned tomatoes to cut down the costs even more. But if you are using the tomatoes, slice them into strips, stack them up and then slice them into thin strips again, rotate 90 degrees and then dice into medium to large size pieces, something that looks like this. For the lime element to this dish, we just need 1 lime, slice it into wedges, and this is going to be added over at the end. We don't want to cook the lime juice in this recipe, so just pop these aside for the time being. I went with 3 small chicken breasts for this recipe. You can use more and you can use less. What we're going to do with these is butterfly them, so open them up like a butterfly, hence the name, and then slice into 2 even-sized fillets. Once you have that done, add it into a bowl along with 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and 1 teaspoon of sweet paprika. Season with salt and cracked black pepper, 15 cracks worth. Then get in there with clean hands, give it a quick mix through and make sure that chicken's completely coated, and we can pop this aside for the time being. For the rice, place a saucepan over a high heat, add in 200 grams or 7 ounces of washed jasmine rice and 350 milliliters or 350 grams of cold water, a pinch of salt to taste and then give it a mix around just to prevent any clumps. Bring this up to a boil, place on a lid, reduce the heat to low, and we're going to cook this for 12 minutes undisturbed. In the meantime, place a large pan over a medium-high heat, add in 1 tablespoon of olive oil or a neutral oil if you wanted to use that, which is a lot cheaper. Get the pan nice and hot, then add in the chicken. We're going to sear this for about 2 to 2.5 minutes on each side, just getting that nice golden crust. The chicken won't be cooked through at this point, which is exactly what we want because we are going to be removing it once we have that nice crust. Also, just keep an eye on how hot your pan's getting. If it does get too hot and you notice things start burning, just turn it down slightly. Once you have that done, add in another 1 tablespoon of olive oil or neutral oil. Add in the onions along with a nice pinch of salt. And we're going to saute these for about 3 to 4 minutes. These are going to release moisture and pick up some of that flavor that the chicken left behind. And we're looking for these onions to start very slightly caramelizing and to release that nice fragrance that they have. Next to go in is the garlic and ginger paste along with the diced chili if you're using it. Continue mixing this around, make sure you break up that garlic and ginger because it can clump up and stick to the bottom of the pan, and cook this for 1 minute until it's nice and fragrant. Add in all of the chopped tomatoes, spread them out. These are going to release a lot of moisture and also help deglaze the pan. I'm also going to add in 1.5 tablespoons of concentrated tomato paste. Then be sure to season this up with salt and cracked black pepper, 10 cracks worth. Continue mixing this through, make sure that tomato paste is mixed through everything and cook this for about 4 to 5 minutes until those tomatoes start breaking down and you have a really nice aroma. Add in 1 can or 400 milliliters of coconut milk, not coconut cream, it's too thick for this. Stir that all through, make sure everything's fully combined and those flavors can become friends. Test it for seasoning, and I added quite a bit of salt and cracked black pepper here, and I ended up needing to add sugar as well because my tomatoes were really acidic. I tried not to add sugar for this recipe, but it definitely needed it. Once seasoned to your taste, mix everything through and we're going to bring this up to a simmer. Once it is at a simmer, we can place the chicken back in. Now that chicken isn't cooked, so we are going to need to cook the sauce for a few minutes to finish off the cooking of that chicken. And don't forget to add any of the resting juices as well, just for a little bit of extra flavor. This can then be cooked for about 2 to 3 minutes, ensuring that chicken is cooked in the center. And I like to flip the chicken over every now and again, that way it will stay nice and saucy. Now going over to the rice, it's been cooking for 12 minutes. Turn it off the heat and leave the lid on for a final 4 minutes. Then remove that lid and fluff this up with a fork or a spatula. And you'll have this nice soft, sticky and fluffy jasmine rice that we can keep warm until we're ready to serve. Going back to our chicken, which is now cooked, just double check everything for seasoning, make any last adjustments and we can turn this off the heat. I am serving this up with some coriander or cilantro. The amount is completely up to you, and if you don't like it, you don't have to use it. I'm just roughly chopping it and then sprinkling it over the top. Not using it all, and I'm also going to save a little bit more for garnish when we serve it up in bowls. Squeeze over that lime juice. This is all about taste and what you like. Don't do too much though, because once it's in there, you won't be able to take it out. Serve the rice in bowls or plates or however you'd like to serve this. This recipe will serve 3, pushing 4, but the sizes will be quite small. And I recommend 2 pieces of chicken per serve, which is 1 chicken breast. I did end up adding a 3rd piece on this to extend it out and make it look a little bit bigger. Make sure you pour over that delicious sauce, get this nice and sauced up. Then we can add over that coriander or cilantro that's been roughly chopped, which you don't have to use. A little bit of cracked black pepper. Serve it up with a lime wedge. And there we have our affordable and delicious coconut lime chicken. I have also included the cost breakdown. This is each individual ingredient and their cost, then for the whole amount as well, which is everything together, and then the price per portion. So with all of that said and done, there is only one thing left to do, and that is of course we can then dig in. The flavors in that are really delicious and it's so simple as well. You got a little bit of acidity, a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of spice. You don't have to add the spice if you don't want to. Just be careful with the sugar as well, just to balance out the acidity on the tomatoes. All tomatoes are different, have different acidity levels like that. Then the coriander or cilantro just adds that fresh kick at the end. Of course, if you don't like it, you don't have to use it. Then the rice is just a perfect partnership for it, but you can serve this with whatever you want. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.